Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the mysteries hidden in ancient texts, forgotten traditions, and the spiritual world that has fascinated humanity for thousands of years. Today, we step into a story wrapped in fear, legend, and controversy. A name whispered across centuries: Beelzebub. Who is he? Where did this name come from? And why does it appear in both scripture and mythology as a symbol of corruption and darkness? Settle in, because this journey will take us through history, religion, linguistics, and spiritual warfare. Long before the name Beelzebub appeared in the Bible, it belonged to an ancient god worshipped in the Philistine city of Ekron. They called him Baal-zebub, a name often translated as Lord of the Flies. To understand this, imagine a culture where different idols claimed dominion over rain, harvest, fertility, and war. Yet this one was tied to decay, sickness, and swarms of flies believed to spread disease. To the Philistines, he was powerful. To the Israelites, he represented everything they rejected. That collision of beliefs laid the foundation for the dark legacy that followed. One of the earliest biblical mentions of Beelzebub appears in the book of 2 Kings. King Ahaziah of Israel fell through a lattice and was badly injured. Instead of seeking help from the God of Israel, he sent messengers to inquire of the god of Ekron, Baal-zebub, asking whether he would recover. But the prophet Elijah intercepted the messengers with a divine question. "Is it because there is no God in Israel that you are going to ask Baal-zebub?" That moment redefined the name. It wasn't just a foreign god, it was a spiritual rival, an enemy of truth. From that encounter, the name began its transformation into something far darker. By the time we reach the New Testament, Beelzebub is no longer seen as a Philistine deity. He has become known as the Prince of Demons. In the Gospels, when Jesus cast out demons, some religious leaders accused him of doing it through the power of Beelzebub. Think about that. A name that began as an idol had become associated with the highest form of spiritual evil. This shift shows us how deeply names can evolve and how societies reinterpret spiritual forces across generations. Early Jewish and Christian communities saw Beelzebub as more than just a demonic figure. He symbolized corruption, pride, decay, and rebellion against the divine. Some traditions placed him directly under Satan, making him second in command in the hierarchy of darkness. Others viewed his name as meaning Lord of Dung, a deliberate insult meant to strip the idol of honor and associate him with filth. Over time, Beelzebub's identity became tied to everything unclean and morally destructive. As Christianity spread, Beelzebub appeared in teachings, legends, and stories about spiritual warfare. Believers saw the world as a battleground. On one side stood God and his angels. On the other stood the forces of deception, temptation, and destruction. Beelzebub became a symbol of these forces, representing the idea that evil works subtly but persistently. Some writings described him as the demon of lies, the corrupter of nations, and the source of dark miracles. Whether literal or symbolic, these ideas shaped the way generations understood the struggle between good and evil. By the Middle Ages, Beelzebub was deeply rooted in demonology. Writers described him as a towering, powerful entity. Some imagined him as a grotesque figure surrounded by flies. Others saw him as a fallen angel robed in pride and authority. His name appeared in exorcisms, in religious art, and in cautionary tales meant to warn believers of temptation. Over time, these stories combined into a lasting image: Beelzebub as a representation of ruin, pride, and spiritual decay. His influence didn't stop there. Beelzebub entered literature, appearing in works like Paradise Lost. He appeared in folklore as a manipulator of human weakness. He appeared in modern films and books as a demon associated with possession or deception. In every portrayal, the theme remained the same. He symbolized the darker impulses that humans struggle with. Now let's step back. Why does humanity continue returning to figures like Beelzebub? Perhaps it's because we recognize pieces of ourselves in these stories. Not the demonic image, but the internal battles we face. Pride, deception, bitterness, temptation. These are struggles every generation understands. Beelzebub becomes a warning about what happens when those forces go unchecked. In ancient Israel, he symbolized the danger of turning away from God. In early Christianity, he symbolized spiritual resistance. And today, he represents the unseen battles we fight in our thoughts, choices, and desires. Whether someone interprets Beelzebub as literal or symbolic, the lessons remain valuable. Pride destroys potential. Deception breaks trust. Corruption starts small, but grows until it controls everything it touches. Names like Beelzebub remind us that evil rarely arrives loudly. It starts quietly, like flies gathering where no one is paying attention. So who is Beelzebub? A fallen god? A prince of demons? A symbol of corruption? Or a warning passed down through generations? Maybe he is all of these. But one truth stands out. He represents what we must guard our hearts against: pride, deception, and spiritual decay. And as long as humanity keeps telling stories, the name Beelzebub will remain a reminder of the ongoing struggle between darkness and light.